Welcome and thanks for staying with us. You're watching Beyond World is One and this is Speed News. Let's begin. Bangladesh's opposition Bangladesh Nationalist Party said it has won a majority in the parliamentary election and will form the next government. In social media posts celebrating the result, the party said it was preparing to take charge. According to local newspapers, BNP has made some early gains in the Bangladesh polls and has secured Dhaka 17 and Bogra 6 constituencies. According to the latest updates, BNP is leading in over 175 seats and Jamaat is ahead in 30. US President Donald Trump has threatened Iran with very traumatic consequences if it fails to make a nuclear deal. Speaking a day after he hosted Israel Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu at the White House, Trump said it was up to him to make a deal, adding he hoped for a result over the next month from Washington's negotiations with Iran over its nuclear program. Netanyahu had traveled to Washington to push Trump to take a harder line in the Iran nuclear talks. But the Israeli and U.S. leaders apparently remained at odds, with Trump insisting the negotiations should continue. The death toll from a crackdown over Iran's nationwide protest last month has reached at least 7,003 people, with more still feared dead. The continued rise in the tally of the dead from the demonstrations adds to the overall tensions facing Iran both inside the country and abroad as it tries to negotiate with the U.S. over its nuclear program. A second round of talks remains uncertain as Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu pressed his case directly with U.S. President Donald Trump to intensify his demands on Tehran in the negotiations. Lebanon's health ministry says an Israeli strike in southern Lebanon has killed one person, while Israel has said it targeted and killed a Hezbollah member. The airstrike hit a car in the southern Lebanese town of Al-Tiri, despite a November 2024 truce that sought to end more than a year of hostilities, including 2 months of all-out war between Israel and Hezbollah. Israel has kept up regular strikes on Lebanon and has maintained troops in 5 areas it deems strategic. Syria's troops have taken control of the Al-Tanf base near the border that Syria shares with Jordan and Iraq. U.S. authorities have confirmed complete withdrawal by American troops and handover of the base to Syrian forces. Syria's defense ministry has also released a statement saying that its military units have assumed control of the U.S. military base. Washington deployed troops to the Al-Tanf base during the period of Syria's civil war and joint operations against the IS. This development also comes over a year after former Syrian leader Bashar al-Assad's ouster, who was replaced by incumbent President Ahmad al-Shara. British Defense Minister John Healey has said Ukraine's Western allies have already pledged around $35 billion in military aid to Kiev this year. The figure includes new commitments by individual countries, but also previous promises made by Ukraine's allies, including $13.6 billion already announced by Germany. In 2025, they raised some $45 billion in military aid for Ukraine, and Healey said that they would seek to do more this year. German defense minister said his country was ready to deliver 5 new PAC-3 interceptors for Ukraine's air defense, provided Ukraine's other allies deliver at least 30 more of their own. The mother of a 12-year-old girl killed in a mass shooting in the British Columbia town of Tumbler Ridge held back tears as she remembered her daughter. A total of 9 people, including the suspect, died in one of the country's worst mass shootings. Police say 18-year-old Jessie Van Roetselaar, who had suffered mental health problems, killed her mother and stepbrother before shooting a teacher and 5 young students at a local school. The incident shocked Tumbler Ridge, a town of around 2,400 in the Canadian Rockies. U.S. President Donald Trump's immigration point man, Tom Homan, announces the end of an aggressive federal enforcement operation in Minnesota that sparked widespread protests and national outrage after 2 U.S. citizens were killed. Tom Homan said a significant drawdown of immigration enforcement agents in Minnesota is underway. Democratic Governor Tim Walz said that he's cautiously optimistic about the move. Activists from Minnesota and elsewhere held a rally at the U.S. Capitol, urging Congress to cut funding for ICE after the Trump administration deployed about 3,000 armed immigration agents in the state and other U.S. cities. Just weeks after a dramatic purge of China's top general, the CIA is moving to capitalize on any resulting discord with a new public video targeting potential informants in the Chinese military. The video highlights allegations of corruption in the People's Liberation Army that have contributed to the ouster of a number of generals and senior leaders on the Central Military Committee, the Communist Party body that controls China's armed forces. The release of the Chinese language video seeking to target disaffected military officers is likely to further infuriate Beijing. U.S. House Speaker Mike Johnson says that the tracking by the Trump administration of the Epstein file search history of members of Congress at the Department of Justice was an oversight. During a hearing before a House of Representatives committee, Attorney General Pam Bondi arrived with several documents, at least one of which contained the research conducted by a Democrat congresswoman. The Justice Department acknowledged it's monitoring the search history of lawmakers who view the unredacted Epstein files. Bondi's hearing before the House Judiciary Committee devolved into several screaming matches with the Democrats as she refused to answer their questions about Jeffrey Epstein, launched personal attacks against them, and went into unrelated tangents about Trump's accomplishments. Japanese authorities say they have seized a Chinese fishing vessel that tried to flee when ordered to stop for an inspection in a move that may further fuel tensions with Beijing. According to the country's fisheries agency, the boat was in Japan's exclusive economic zone off Nagasaki Prefecture in the southwest when it was intercepted and its captain was arrested. The seizure is the first time since 2022 that the agency has seized a Chinese fishing boat. China has yet to react to Japan's statement. Venezuela's acting president, Delcy Rodriguez, and U.S. Energy Secretary Chris Wright toured oil production facilities at Petro Independencia. The officials inspected operations at a joint venture between Chevron and State Oil Company in the Orinoco oil belt and production infrastructure during the visit to Managas State. Wright arrived in Caracas and met with Rodriguez at the Miraflores Presidential Palace, where they agreed to pursue long-term energy cooperation following recent sanctions, relief, and legal reforms that opened Venezuela's oil sector to greater foreign investment. Venezuelan lawmakers postponed the adoption of a landmark amnesty bill expected to lead to the release of hundreds of political prisoners. MPs voted to postpone a second and final debate on the highly anticipated bill after failing to reach agreement on at least one of the articles. They had initially backed the bill during a first reading last week. Venezuelan students and families of prisoners for political reasons protested in Caracas, demanding the immediate release of all detainees as the controversial bill was debated. Russia's aviation regulator says Moscow is planning to fly its tourists out of Cuba in the coming days and suspend all flights until a jet fuel shortage eases. According to Moscow's Civil Aviation Authority, two major Russian airlines are helping evacuate its citizens from Cuba, as they announced they would suspend flights to the island and offer only one-way tickets out of the island to bring passengers home. Earlier, U.S. President Donald Trump's administration has declared Cuba, quote-unquote, an unusual and extraordinary threat to U.S. national security. Despite Trump's threats on oil suppliers, countries like Mexico and Chile have defended their rights to aid the fuel-starved island. Amid growing concerns over PTI founder Imran Khan's deteriorating eyesight in custody, Pakistan's federal government assured the Supreme Court that Khan would be provided access to specialist eye doctors for a fresh medical assessment. He will also be allowed telephonic contact with his sons. The assurances were given during the hearing of a case concerning facilities available to the incarcerated former PM at Rawalpindi's Adiala jail. While directing the authorities to ensure timely medical access, the Chief Justice stressed that Khan, like all prisoners, was entitled to adequate health care, but without preferential treatment. Hungary's opposition leader said that individuals linked to the government were preparing to release an illicit video of him in an intimate situation with his former girlfriend. And this is an attempt to discredit him ahead of elections due in April. Peter Magyar, leader of the center-right opposition TISA party, which leads Prime Minister Viktor Orban's ruling Fidesz in the most polls, said in a video he believed he was targeted by Orban's camp with a Russian-style smear campaign. Orban's government spokesperson did not respond to this matter. Over 100 couples tied the knot in Lima in the Peruvian capital, first collective civil wedding of the year, held ahead of Valentine's Day. The ceremony took place at the Magic Circuit of Water, a popular tourist attraction where couples received photographs and a cake, and brides were given makeup. The Lima Metropolitan Municipality regularly holds community weddings to make civil marriage more accessible to local couples, provide legal protection, and speed up the paperwork. New York officials hoisted a large rainbow pride flag over the Stonewall National Monument that was removed by the Trump administration earlier this week. Hundreds of people flocked to New York's Lower Manhattan to return the flag to the monument, which marks the birthplace of the modern U.S. gay rights movement. The act of defiance against the Trump administration was carried out during a ceremony led Manhattan Borough President Brad Holliman Siegel and attended by city, state, and federal elected officials. The flag was initially carried through the crowd and propped up on its own separate pole as the U.S. flag remained on the main flagpole, which was later taken down. Deforestation in Brazil's Amazon rainforest fell 35.4% from August 2025 to January 2026, compared with the same period a year earlier. Records indicate that Brazil could have in 2026 the lowest annual deforestation in the historical series that began in 1988. The data presented is the result of monthly monitoring conducted through the DETERT satellite system, which is less precise than the PRODES system used for calculating annual deforestation. Several major French ski resorts have announced closures and severe operational disruptions as avalanche danger reaches maximum levels across large parts of the French Alps. Storm Nils has brought intense snowfall, storm force, winds, and rapidly deteriorating snowpack stability. At least 30 centimeters of fresh snowfall fell in some areas overnight, prompting authorities to issue very high avalanche danger rating in the Mont Blanc, Chablais, among others. Forecasters describe the situation as remarkable. Strong winds forced the closure of schools in part of Catalonia as gusts topping 105 km/h felled trees and disrupted roads. Authorities also canceled sporting events and limited non-essential healthcare services as emergency teams dealt with debris. One person was in a serious condition after being struck by a falling tree in northeastern Spanish region of Catalonia in the latest storms to hit the region in the past few weeks. A woman was seriously injured in Barcelona after a roof collapsed at the business where she worked. More than 100 flights departing from or landing at Barcelona's El Prat airport have been cancelled. The Portuguese army helped stranded residents evacuate the flood-hit towns of Arieta and Montormo Velo using amphibious vehicles. They also provided support to those who decided to remain in the area amid fears water levels could worsen in the following days. Swathes of Spain and Portugal were on high alert as heavy rain and strong winds battered the Iberian Peninsula, felling trees, disrupting transport, and forcing the closure of schools in some areas. In Portugal, atmospheric river, a wide corridor of concentrated water vapor carrying massive amounts of moisture from the tropics brought new downpours, affecting the north to a greater extent. The air quality index around Delhi's ITO has been recorded at 174 in the moderate category as per the Central Pollution Control Board. This comes days after the AQI oscillated between poor to very poor category recorded in parts of Delhi. Meanwhile, citizen groups have urged the Commission for Air Quality Management take year-round action on Delhi air, urging it to recognize it as a serious crisis. Gold and silver staged a sharp rebound on Friday after tumbling to one-week lows. Bargain hunting kicked in following heavy selling triggered by strong U.S. jobs data. Spot gold rose 1%, recovering after slipping below the key $5,000 mark and shedding over 3% in the previous session. U.S. gold futures also gained, while silver jumped more than 2%, clawing back some losses after an 11% plunge earlier this week. A steady dollar also capped gains in bullion. Investors now await inflation data for clearer signals on the Fed's next move, as platinum and palladium also posted modest gains. The United States has formalized a reciprocal trade agreement with Taiwan, confirming a 15% U.S. tariff rate on Taiwanese imports. This is down from the 20% initially imposed, putting Taiwan in line with Asian peers Japan and South Korea. In return, Taiwan has committed to significantly ramp up purchases of U.S. goods between 2025 and 2029. Taiwan will also eliminate tariffs of up to 26% on many U.S. farm goods and ease non-tariff barriers on autos, medical devices, and pharmaceuticals. The deal comes as the U.S. trade deficit with Taiwan surged to $127 billion in the first 11 months of 2025, driven largely by AI chip imports. The global electric vehicle registrations fell 3% year-on-year in January to nearly 1.2 million units, according to data from Benchmark Middle Intelligence. The slowdown was led by China, where sales dropped 20%, the lowest level in almost 2 years. This comes after the introduction of a purchase tax and reduced subsidies. North America saw an even sharper 33% decline, with the U.S. recording its weakest EV sales since early 2022. Europe bucked the trend, posting 24% growth, though at its slowest pace in nearly a year. Meanwhile, the rest of the world surged 92%, driven by incentives in Thailand and strong demand in South Korea and Brazil. The data comes amid growing policy uncertainty, subsidy rollbacks, and intensifying price competition. Italy's high-speed train operator Italo will introduce SpaceX Starlink across its entire fleet. The rollout, set to complete by 2027, will make Italo the world's first major train company to rely on low Earth orbit satellite connectivity. The service aims to provide passengers stable, high-speed internet for streaming, video calls, and work on board, while other rail operators have trialed Starlink, including Italy's Ferrovie dello Stato, ScotRail, and France's SNCF, but none have fully committed. Italo's decision comes after nearly a year of testing Starlink on its trains. Uber Eats has launched new AI feature, Cart Assistant, to speed up grocery shopping. The beta version allows users to enter or upload shopping lists, including handwritten notes or recipe screenshots, and automatically add items to their cart. Cart Assistant personalizes suggestions using previous orders, making it easier to pick favorite brands or frequently bought items. Users can customize their cart before checkout, saving time and streamlining the shopping experience. The move boosts Uber Eats' AI capabilities and competes with other apps like Instacart and DoorDash, which have also integrated AI shopping tools. U.S. Senate Commerce Committee approves bill to speed satellite launch approvals. The legislation aims to streamline FCC licensing for new satellites while still requiring reviews for interference and safety. The move comes days after SpaceX filed for approval to launch a constellation of up to 1 million satellites to orbit Earth and power AI data centers. Under the bill, the FCC must determine whether new satellite designs could interfere with existing systems and whether additional scrutiny is needed. Supporters say the measure could speed deployment of next-gen space infrastructure while preserving safety and national security checks. Italy's Federica Brignone capped a sensational comeback from broken leg to win the women's Super G at the Milano Cortina Winter Olympics. Nicknamed the Tiger, the Italian roared down the slope in Cortina in 1 minute, 23.41 seconds to win her first Olympic gold, less than a year after she suffered a double leg fracture in April 2025. At 35, Brignone has become the oldest ever Olympic gold medal winner in the alpine skiing. England manager Thomas Tuchel has signed a contract extension with the Three Lions. The new contract will see the German remain in charge of the England men's senior side until the end of the Euro 2026, which will be played in the UK and Ireland. Tuchel was one of the names doing rounds to become Manchester United's permanent manager, but in signing a New England contract, Tuchel appears to have ruled himself out of a post-World Cup move to Old Trafford. Former India captain Mahendra Singh Dhoni has been directed to pay 10 lakh rupees, that is approximately $11,000, for translating old CDs involved in a 100 crore defamation suit filed by him. The case relates to alleged defamatory content against him in connection with the 2013 IPL betting scandal. The amount will be used by the court for translation of the content related to the case. The court fixed the entire cost of the process and asked Dhoni to pay the charges since he was obligated as the plaintiff. Swedish actress Skarsgard was honored at Santa Barbara International Film Festival on the big screen. Skarsgard is also known for films such as the Pirates of the Caribbean series, the musical Mamma Mia, as well as his work with director Lars von Trier in Dancer in the Dark and Nymphomaniac. On television, he is known for the Star Wars series Andor. In his acting career, he won a Golden Globe for the TV series Chernobyl.